Hello beautiful peoples, this is David Nintendo with one more video today. I want to show my t-shirt, Super Mario. Anyway, I'm gonna replace the capacitors on the Nintendo this time, so stay tuned. The reason why we're changing the capacitors in this Nintendo is because we are getting some delayed lines in the screen, as you can see right there, so like a little waving lines down here as well. And many times you can also hear like a humming sounds coming from the speaker while you're playing. In this case, the capacitors just barely started to go bad. As you can see, if I got a game going on, it's just hard to see the lines just yet, but it does get worse over time. And here I have a whole kit that I purchased, but you can always buy it individually. Of course, first thing you gotta do is to take the console apart. Next thing will be to take the radio frequency shield out of here. Got a few screws all around it. And the radio frequency shield comes out. One important thing I didn't mention at the beginning of this video, it is to press the power button in. That way, if it is any charge in the capacitors, it gets discharged and we don't cause any shorts inside the Nintendo. For the next step, you gotta get the cartridge mechanism out of the way. So you gotta get it out by taking these screws out on each corner and at the other side. The only important thing to remember here is that this screw, the different color, they are a little longer, and you gotta remember which one they are and where do they go when you put them back together, because you definitely don't want to put it somewhere else that they don't belong. See what I was saying? Little different color. I want to see if I can show this. But they also, where am I at? Right. They also a little extra longer. So again, you wanna put it right where they belong. And now with the cartridge mechanism being out of the way, we can go ahead and remove the last two screws, and then we can get the whole board out of there. From now it's just a matter of lifting the board out of there. One thing you need to do here is to unplug this connection right there. That will help. Of course, there is the bottom part of the radio frequency shield. So we took the part at the beginning, the top part, and now we have to take the bottom part as well. Board is out. You could take the cartridge contact out of there just by pulling it out, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that yet. And yeah, I'm gonna have to take the cartridge contact out of here because it does get in the way. I have to be, if I'm not mistaken, I have to be unsoldering these things over here, these pins, and it's just too close to the contacts, so I'm gonna get it out of the way. And now thinking again, I remember that unsoldering these joints over here is harder to do from that side than if you do it from the other side inside here. So it is what I'm going to do. So now it's a matter of prying this shield cover out of here. Oh, what a surprise. I gotta show you this. See, this right here is the main reason why we are replacing the capacitors on the first place, other than the display problem and sound noises. It is because this is corrosion that the liquid from the capacitors are creating. See how messy that is right there? See, the rest of the circuit board is nice and clean. See, these capacitors small or with the lower capacitance, they don't really never fail, but the bigger ones or the higher capacitance, they do fail. Okay, one tip I'm gonna give you over here. Like I was saying, I'm not planning to unsolder this joint from here. I will do unsolder these ones, the ones at the end, like to get the whole module off of it, but not the connections inside here. The reason why is because this is a double solder kind of thing. It's soldered inside down there and outside here. So to redo the solder, it's not very easy. From experience, I have some situations where I cannot get the solder to stick on both sides, the inside and the outside. So I'd rather not bother them. Instead, I will unsolder from here, which are the same pins at the other side. But over here is only one connection. It doesn't connect anything at the other side. And I can see the solder joints over here when I'm putting it together instead of the other side. I can see the outside, but I cannot see the inside. So in order to prevent all of that, like I said, from experience, I'm just gonna get it unsoldered from this side. Now if I wouldn't wanna bother unsolder these four corners, I could also unsolder these joints right there, but I think that's gonna be kind of hard. The ones over here are not too hard. I've done it before. This come out pretty easy. You just need a nice desoldering tool that give you enough heat. So that's what I'm planning to do. I'm gonna do this 4 joints for the corners or the RF or radio frequency module, and then I'm gonna come down here and unsolder the pins from here. Let's do that. Okay, let's go over this one more time really quick. I'm going to unsolder these 4 corners, right? But the thing is, I kind of need to wiggle this stuff to break it loose after I unsolder it. So at that point, I'm going to have these pins over here loose, because if not, I'm gonna be putting some stress on these pins. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unsolder these pins first, make sure they're loose, completely unsoldered and loose from the joint. Then I'm gonna come over here and unsolder this side, and perhaps have to pry a little bit. But with them being loose and unsoldered from this other side, I wouldn't have to worry about breaking any of those connections. See, the first thing I would like to do before unsolder, it is to add some more fresh solder to it. So that's a whole new fresh solder. That seems to help when you're trying to remove the solder out. Like you can grab it better or something. Now I'm doing this outside of the house also because I don't want this little smoke being there and making me sick. Now I have heard that some people can replace these caps inside here without having to remove the whole shield. That might be a good idea. What they do is they get this big cap or capacitors out of the way first, and that give them enough room to work for the rest of them. It's probably pretty hard to do, but we can give it a try. Now I can already see that that is not enough room for me to work in there, even though that I already removed the biggest capacitor. Now the thing is, the people that done that before, I think they only replaced the caps that you can see around there, not the ones in the very inside. It's gonna be even hard to show you, but there is some caps that come all the way inside here. You cannot reach those, and that's what they do. They don't replace those. So I still going to continue to remove the whole this whole module over here. They do seems to be loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and desolder the other side now. Now for this over here again, I'm going to add some new fresh solder to the board, just like I did with the pins. Now if you don't have a suction gun like I do to remove the solder from there, you could always use this is like a pen or pencil. Anyway, you got the idea. It's more like a straw. You got the ink out of there, and then you can melt the solder and just blow to it, and you will come out of there, and whatever is left, you could just get it with this this solder wick. I'll show you right now. Oh, solder wick. And you could have done it that way. It is just a little harder, and you know, the more tools and the better tools that you have, the better job you can do. So I'm gonna do it this way because I have it, of course. You do need a lot of heat over here because these joints are big. If still any remaining soldering right there, you can finish get it with the solder wick. I'll try to get it off the best we can. I think I almost got it all off of it, but I think I can see a little bit over here. I think it's better now. Some alcohol and some of these Q-tips. What do you right here should do the job. So now I'm gonna start to prime, and like I said, just make sure this side is already unsoldered. You don't want to break those pins or the connections. One thing I like to do, I like to grab this tool over here and I start to wiggle around those contacts, the connections, after you desolder them. That way you kind of break them loose before you start to pry. There it comes. Little patient. Let me show you this one. Okay, I know how to show you this. I'm gonna show you that better. Now that I have this module off the board, I can get to show you how I was explaining earlier. There is no connection in the inside of the board, just in the outside. So that is the reason why we unsolder it from that side instead of this side, because right here you have connection joints right here and also inside here. So the problem is you don't take this out properly, meaning you ripped one of these traces broken, you're most likely gonna have to add a little more solder for it to reach outside here where the trace will be. Now if you're putting it back together in that situation, with this being inside, you're not going to be able to see well if the solder is making a good connection. Next thing you're going to know, you're going to turn off your Nintendo and maybe it's not even going to turn on, or something is going to go wrong. So real quick, I put it back together so I can go over this one more time. See how I didn't touch this solder joints right there? Just the outside. That was holding it in place. Instead, I am soldering from the inside over here. Oh, from the other side, I mean. Because there is less connections over here than what it is over here. It's double connection, outside, inside and outside. You know, here is just outside, so it makes it easier. Now, probably for the, not the final part, but to continue here, I'm gonna go ahead and take the other lid cover, which it was now in the inside, like a sandwich between the board, but now we can just get it out. And by doing this, we reveal all the caps. I'll show you that better. So I wrote down all the capacitor values and locations, and I have all of them new right here. And I have to say I have an extra one because it's only 6 and I got a 7 total. And that's not counting that I'm not gonna replace the 3 over here in the main board. They're very low value, not much voltage running there, and I don't see they going bad, so I'm not replacing that, and I'm not replacing them, and my kit doesn't give me enough for them anyway. And so I have over here 2 and another 2, that's 4. That will be the 5th right there, and the number 6 right here. So one thing we have to consider or follow when we put them back together, they are marked which side they are negative and which side they are positive. So the negative side is marked, so that's what you gotta pay attention to. All of them got it. I'll show you on another one. See how the minus is right there on this one? I'll show you. Right. It's a minus symbol right here, and it's also the capacitor has the line with it means is the negative. So over here again, yeah, it's showing the positive on up here too. So okay, it shows you the negative and the positive. So you have to follow that, and that's all you have to follow when you're replacing them. See the positive right there on this one. Well, let's get ready to put them back together. I'm gonna go ahead and resolder all the joints to make it easier to get it out. Now I would like to run some continuity test, see if those traces are still doing what they're supposed to do. Well, some of them do, or I don't know yet because I'm still checking. I also cleaned it in the inside. Well, I could see some liquid in here. See how clean that is in the inside. Check the continuity, the connections. They appear to still going where they're supposed to go, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Let's check out the values now because I took them all of them out. Well, I got the one with the 1 microfarad. So where is that going? C29. It's gotta go under the frame, right? I'll show you the results at the end of the video. Doesn't want to grab right there because that's the area where the liquid caused a lot of damage. And now they are all soldered in place, brand new. Now it's a matter of cutting all the legs off and giving one more cleanup. Now it's time to put the shells covers. Now gotta make sure everything aligns. Now the pins at the other side. See, on this side I'm going to be dripping all the thing inside the module, so I'm just going to wipe it with the Q-tip. Oh, I know what I can do too. Put it upside down. Now I can get this cover back on it. That should be it right there. And so I was wrong with the capacitor kit. I thought I didn't have enough for the for this here. I thought it only have enough for the module inside here, but I ended up found the other 3 later, which I still end up with one extra anyway. The one I will have extra will be the 10 microfarads at 25 volts. That's the one I have extra. The other 3 are here. They are 2.2 microfarad and the 100 microfarad and the 1 microfarad. So I got it all complete plus 1 extra. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and replace those 2. I said at some point I was not gonna do it, but since I have it, yes, I'm going to do it. last one over here. So now I'm done replacing the caps, and all I need to do is just put it back together. It's all nice and clean, and I get to do this final part inside the room, inside the house, which is nice and quiet, not like outside. Okay, to put it back together, first thing I'm gonna start with or from, it is the cartridge connector. Now the bottom part of the shield. Now from here you gotta get the bottom part of the Nintendo case. Going to plug the cables that comes from the power switch and the reset button is in. Then the connector for the control number 2. Those were both on the side. Now in the front goes the connector for the control number 1. Now it's kind of mounted or routes the cables, and that is how they look like at the end. For the next step will be to mount the cartridge mechanism. Put the screws back to the same place we got it from, and again remember that the longer screws goes. So here these screws, and the longer ones came right from this position. And one thing I like to do, I like to spin backwards until I hit a click. That means I found that thread, the original thread, and I don't over thread them or create another thread. Now tightening this screw, you have to be gentle. You're working with plastic, so just nice and snug until it touches, and that's it. You don't want to mess the threads up. So when you feel it touching down, you have a feeling for. That's all you need to go right there. Now I believe at this point over here we can test it. That way, because these screws I'm threading over here right now, and I can show you in a little bit. The very ones in the front, they can kind of be adjusted for it to be a certain level, up higher and lower, and sometimes the cartridge has a better contacts up higher or lower, so you kind of want to work that out testing it. And here also comes the moment of the truth. I have everything plugged back together, the power, the cable connection to the TV, and now I'm gonna go ahead and insert my card and give it a try. And this is my first time powering it on after replacing the cap, so moment of the truth, and it is for me too. I think it's working. It's just the cartridge not being placed properly, and like I said again, these screws can be adjusted to the height of where the card makes the best connection. So I'm gonna do just that. Let's give it a reset, see what it does. Okay, it doesn't do anything. I don't see any lines that we was seeing before either. So let me just move the cartridge around, see if it does anything. Okay, it's not doing anything right there. So how about if I adjusted it to like tighten them a little bit more. see what it does right there. Let's see. Nothing yet, but we can give one more in and out to the cart. How about if we come to the left, or to the right, excuse me. Nothing yet. How about now to the left? Not doing anything. So let's play with the cartridge like this. See? So I'm gonna play with these screws a little more. Since I'm pressing it down a little bit, it makes me think that I need to tighten them a little more. So let's see what it does. Nothing yet. Okay, let's see. A little to the right. Nothing yet. See, I continue to tighten those screws just a little more. The tray is just not touching the motherboard just yet. It's just a little space in between, not too much, just very little. That's the way I found them, by the way. Hard to tell, but it's a little space in between. I didn't tighten all the way till they get flat to the board. Got a little space in between. It's almost like you touch the bottom by tightening them, but then you just loosen it up back a little bit. And that's the way I found out to be working kind of the best. We all know this mechanism is pretty messy when it comes to make the contacts and display the games. It's never been working in a good way, so that's why I also advise people to buy the blinking light wing kit. That is a whole new tray mechanism that can be replaced for this one, and it is worth it. Works much better. I show you what they look like at the end of this game, or I'll probably show you right now. So this one here on my left side, it is what is called the blinking light wing kit, and this is a whole new tray and mechanism. Also a pin contactor. It's a redesign that this company Arcade Works is what it's called is making, and replace this old mechanism that it doesn't do a very good job, which this one does do a very good job, and it's like a permanently fixed also. And needless to say, this is a new Nintendo motherboard. I have mounted some sockets that you can get the chips or the integrated circuits in and out for testing. So I'm gonna show you what this how this mechanism kind of works by inserting a cartridge in here. So for this demonstration, I have everything plugged in right there. Let's say you have this motherboard put into the Nintendo case, so you'll be looking at the Nintendo right here. Push the cartridge in, turn it on, and away it goes. It never fails. So that's very one advantage or benefit of this new mechanism. I strongly recommend it. So that's how that works. Just so I can get it out of the way. To finish put this back together, now you just have to get the at this point you have to get the top part of the shield, or the radio frequency shield, put on the top, back together, and then it's a matter of getting all the screws on it and you're good to go. We already tested it, everything is working. It's just you just gotta put it back together. Done. And there you have it. Another Nintendo that has been saved. New capacitors. I hope you like this video, and if you do like it, give it a thumbs up. Another thing I thought I'd do to these capacitors, it is to check them with the proper equipment or the proper tester. And it's not necessary. It's no point in doing it. Most of them should be bad for sure, at least the big one and this other two right here, the medium ones. But just for entertainment purposes, I'm gonna show you what they show. Okay, for the 2200 value on this cap, it's supposed to be on the first line, so when it lights up it's just gonna stay on the first one if it is working fine, if it is working properly. And yes, it's still working properly. And for the next one, it has the value of 100, so the 100 is right here. It doesn't supposed to show any higher than right there. So let's see what it does. See, it is not showing absolutely anything. That means the internal resistance value is higher than anything that this tester can measure. So this is absolutely not working properly, absolutely bad. And it's worth to mention that this one, the 100 one, and the other one that I'm going to measure next, or I'm going to check next, are the ones that came from that area that it was all messy, all debris from the liquid that came off of them. Okay, the third one, it is another value of 100 again, so once again the 100 right there, so anywhere right there. It doesn't show absolutely anything again. So those are the two ones that are really bad. For this one here, it has the value of 100, so we know what to expect again, right? Somewhere right there. And I like to mention this one didn't come from inside the module. You know, when we took the part out, it came from like over here, from the main motherboard. So a lot of people don't replace them because they think, or we think, they not go bad. So let's see what they do. Yeah, and it is a suspect by the way it shows. So not working at its best. It is a very good idea to replace them. For this one here, it has the value of 1 microfarad. So if you see the number 1 value on the scale or on the meter or the tester, it is right there, right? So we have a chance to come all the way up here. So anyway, anywhere between here should be fine. See what it does. See, this one is still fine. It's still within the green lines. And I'm going to mention that that's the one that came from here, right there. That's one of the two that come off the motherboard.